Oh, hey. This is Snook the Sloth from the PBS series It's a Big, Big World. And you're watching a podcast where nostalgia comes alive. It's Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show. Roll it.
Welcome to Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show, where nostalgia comes alive. Join Jake and his friends on a journey through pop culture of the past, where they interview professionals in the worlds of acting, directing, writing, puppeteering, and so much more. Who will they be chatting with today? Find out in this Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show episode.
Hello everyone, welcome to this episode of Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show, where nostalgia comes alive. Happy to be with us. Thank you for joining. As always, I'm your host, Jake Steffenbaugh. With me today, as always, our co-hosts, Chris Bixby and Matt Bingle. How you guys doing?
Doing wonderful.
Doing great. Hello, folks. How are you, Jake?
I'm doing great. As always, Matt, thank you.
Good, good. We got a good one for you today, folks.
Yes.
A terrific one. Chris, tell us about it.
Glad to, Matt. Today we interviewed Michelle Hickey. Michelle is best known as being one of the lead puppet wranglers on Sesame Street. We hope you enjoy our chat with her all about working with Carol Spinney, mishaps from wrangling a puppet, and some of the other projects she worked on. Here it is.
See you then. Hello everyone, welcome to Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show, the podcast where nostalgia comes alive.
Yes, very delighted to have you here today. We're pleased to welcome our guest, Michelle Hickey. Michelle, happy to have you here.
Thank you.
Very happy to have you here. So,
Absolutely.
to kick this off, could you tell our audience a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Sure. I am a puppet wrangler and a puppet builder, and I work on the set of Sesame Street, taking care of the puppets. I also work on Donkey Hodie as a puppet wrangler. And I've worked on other shows and theater productions and things like that as a puppet builder and a puppet wrangler.
Nice.
Anyway, so what was your childhood like and how did you grow up?
My childhood was very much ingrained with the Muppets. My dad loved the Muppet Show and we watched it together all the time. And he actually had a puppet. My dad was very funny. He was a New York City police captain, and he bought a puppet when I was about 10 years old, and he took it everywhere with us. So we had watched the Muppets together all those years, and then he had this puppet that he would take with him. It was just a little bear puppet. It was really great, and it made everybody laugh. And so puppets were kind of a natural thing for me. And I always wanted to work on Sesame Street. When I was about 12, I think one of my good friends and neighbors reminded me recently that when I was about 12 years old, I told him that one day I was going to work on Sesame Street because I wanted to do something that helped kids. I wanted to work on programming that helped children. And that seemed like a great place to go. So here I am.
Absolutely.
Oh, that's wonderful.
That's great. So I'm kind of curious. Did you always want to pursue puppetry as a career?
No. As funny enough, when I was a teenager in high school, I thought I was going to be a lawyer. You know, I had a dad who was a cop, a mom who was a nurse, and so like civil service to me was probably, I was like thinking that's the way I was going to go, and I was thinking about being a lawyer. And then when I was a junior in high school, I kind of realized that I couldn't live without art in my life. So I quickly like made a turn and I put together a portfolio and I took all the art classes I could take in school and out. And then I had to decide, how I was going to make a career out of art. So I actually went to School of Visual Arts for animation. I was in their animation program and I did stop motion animation. So I took a puppet building course because I thought it would help me build better stop motion models. And then I got an internship with an independent puppet builder, Janie Geyser. She does puppet shows and she's a really wonderful puppet builder. And I worked with her for a long time. And then I ended up getting an internship at Henson. And the rest is history because I loved what I was doing at Henson. I loved it. It was so much fun. So,
Nice.
That's terrific.
Wonderful.
I was thinking you would follow in your dad's footsteps, honestly. You know, you taking that puppet around all the time. It's like, but left turns aren't so bad. So you're best known for your contributions at Sesame Street as a puppet wrangler and by working in the Muppet Workshop, as you said. How did you first begin working for Sesame?
I started working for Sesame pretty much right out of college. I applied to work at Henson and I wanted to work in the workshop, but there wasn't a spot in the workshop at the time. They did, however, need another wrangler on Sesame Street, so they asked me if I wanted to work on set. And I said, sure. I had not done that yet, but I would give it a try. And I loved it. I love being on a set. I love the pace, the problem solving. Everything that we do on set is just, it's alive. It's like frenetic and wonderful, and I love it. So that's how I started.
Nice.
And I've stayed all these years.
Yeah.
Yes, you did.
I've
So
been
lovely to hear.
I've been there about on and off, about 27 years.
Nice. Wow.
Yeah.
Oh,
Awesome.
That's
terrific.
amazing.
It's pretty great.
Absolutely. Now I know I kind of be like kind of a difficult question to, like, to answer, but like I'm kind of curious. Do you have like any like favorite Sesame Street Muppets to work with?
That is a difficult question to answer because they're almost like my children, right? So,
Yeah.
I take care of so many of them. Big Bird is like my labor of love. I'm always having to like put new feathers on him and take care of him, make sure he's, he looks beautiful. And also, I'm taking care of the puppeteer who's inside the costume, making sure they're safe and all these things. Same thing with Snuffy. He's like a big character that, you're always watching out for. But then, of course, I have the little ones that I love. I mean, I love Telly. He's,
Yeah.
Telly.
He's nervous and wonderful. And Elmo, of course, is adorable. And, I love them all. How can I not?
Right.
You can't choose between your children.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Exactly. So now, speaking of Big Bird, because you just mentioned Big Bird, what kind of goes into wrangling a full body Muppet like Big Bird, or you mentioned Snuffy as well?
Yeah. It's a lot about, like I said, making sure the puppeteer is safe always. So you're always watching out for trip hazards and things. My job with Big Bird is to watch his path when, like, during rehearsals to make sure that he's safe walking in and out of the shot, make sure he's not going to trip over anything or run into anything. And then it's dressing him. So Big Bird is one full piece that I put my hand in his beak and my hand in the back, and I pull him off the stand and I put him on top of Matt Vogel.
Yeah, Matt, he's just the best.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
And then I just make sure his feathers are all in line, and and that's it. And then Matt's off and running. So, and then I'm watching him during the scene. I kind of like go between the monitor. I look at the monitor, make sure he looks good, but I'm also watching him to make sure that he's safe.
Right.
Right. Exactly.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. So of course, since you were already talking a little bit, with Big Bird already, and of course, it's been almost 5 years since we lost, the amazing late Carol Spinney, who originated Big Bird and Oscar the Grouch. Can you kind of like share any fondest stories or memories from working alongside Carol?
It's funny that you asked me that because I just had a memory come up in my phone, pictures of Carol. And
oh my goodness.
With him, yeah, and it made me think of him a lot today. Carol was
great.
A wonderful, wonderful person, and it's gonna make me cry a little bit.
That's okay. That's okay.
It's okay.
No,
it's okay.
I miss him a lot. He would tell me stories. We were always together when I was dressing him as Big Bird because, we would just I would be his wrangler, like hanging out with him, waiting for the shot to happen. And sometimes he'd be in Big Bird and I'd be holding Big Bird's head to give him a rest. He could take his arm down and he would tell me like the best stories about his life. And, you know, he was just a sweet, wonderful man and super funny and fun. And yeah, and I miss him.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
And by the way, Debbie Spinney says hello. We
Aw.
recently spoke to her, and we told her that we were having you on, and she wanted me to tell you she says hello.
Oh, I know. I just actually said to my husband, I need to call Debbie. We need to call
Aw.
Debbie and go visit her. We keep it.
Debbie is just the
She is the
best.
sweetest.
She is the
She
best.
is
And
just-
we,
really is.
yeah, we keep in
Such a
touch. We
sweetheart.
try and keep in touch and see each other, you know.
Oh,
So
That's wonderful. So,
That's great.
what are kind of some of the most like kind of challenging obstacles you face kind of when wrangling a Muppet?
Challenging obstacles. Well, challenging obstacles, I would say, about being on set and being a wrangler in general. The most challenging thing is not having enough time, right? It's always like time management to make sure that you have enough time to get everything ready for the next scenes that are coming up. So I recently just did a shoot where we had so many costume changes. You know, we had one wrangler on set, you know, helping the puppeteers, and then I was dressing puppets constantly all day, you know. So it's really a lot about time management. I think that's probably the most challenging thing because sometimes you're just busy, you know, which is when we throw in maybe a third wrangler because, you know, it's like sometimes two wranglers aren't enough to get it all done, you know, when you have limited time, when you're crunched, when the schedule is set up that things are close together.
Right.
So that's probably the most challenging.
Yeah.
And long days. It's long.
yeah.
Production
Oh,
and
yeah.
long days.
Yeah.
That's the
Mhm.
hardest part,
Yes.
Yeah.
especially as I get older.
Mm. That sounds about right. So this is an interesting question. Can you share any mishaps that happened with a puppet either on set or at an appearance?
Trying to think. Well, there's been things, you know, it's always the live appearances that are the most problematic. I know that Big Bird had an appearance once where his arm got ripped off.
I did hear about that. That was with
What?
Penny Marshall.
Penny Marshall, yeah.
Yeah.
What?
Yes. She actually, I think she tripped and was falling and she grabbed his arm that is not alive, right? Because Big Bird, of course, has one arm that works and the other is on a monofill.
Right.
So he grabbed the arm that wasn't working and it got torn off. It got pulled off.
Oh man.
I think the host of
Oh,
that show
gosh.
covered very well. And
Mm.
things like that. I mean, there was another time when Zoe's eyelid popped off on a live show.
What?
Oh wow.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that was on a morning show. Yeah.
You know what? I think you know
Oh,
what?
that's
Should we
funny.
talk about the eyelid or like? I mean, it's not like really like eyelid or like pupil. I remember like when amazing Wyatt Dillon, he's doing such an amazing job taking over Elmo and other characters. But like when he, which of course another previous guest, he's just the best too. Like when he was on the guest on Puppeteers, Adam Gruinger and Cameron Garrity, love Cameron. Like there's a time where like he told like them a story about like an incident happening like which is also like a live appearance. So
Yeah.
it was kind of like a morning type of like appearance. So it wasn't as much people actually did watch. There's not as much kids or something watching. Thank goodness, because if you didn't know about what it is, so basically, long story short, it was actually outside, and then something happened that Elmo was doing his thing, and then the sphere or the pupil like spinning around or something, and then it just like
The eye just falls off.
It just fell off.
yeah. And then
So
and then like and Ryan being so he have the pupil on Elmo's palm.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
yes, he was being really
And then the
silly.
because the camera guy actually had to hold the camera up, and the other hand was actually the pupil. You just want to help. Like, oh my gosh! And then thankfully, Ryan how to put it back off, and then Lars said next time where he was at the workshop or something, I'm going to tell you how to do this, put back on, so in case this ever happens again.
Yeah, because sometimes when they do those morning appearances, they don't
Yeah, I mean it's kind
with
of a
them.
Yeah, right.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean it's kind of just more like a once in a while thing, and it
Yeah.
really
Yeah,
depends
I
how
mean-
much you use that.
Right. I mean, listen, we try and check all those things, right? So it's
Mhm.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
rare for those
exactly.
things to happen. And
Sometimes
like,
things are slipped through the cracks, you know?
sometimes
Mhm.
things happen, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, I will tell you a funny story. When we did what was the show that we did recently? It aired already. It was not America's Got Talent, the Masked Singer. When we did the Masked Singer,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay.
yeah. So we were rehearsing, and one of Cookie Monster's pupils flew off his eye. And
Wow.
but here's the
Oh
here's
gosh,
the
what
really
happened with
scary part
David
about
Wunman?
this.
Oh gosh.
Mm.
The scary
Go on.
part is Cookie Monster's pupils are plastic, and they're they have a little hole in them so they can spin.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't have a lot of extras of them with us because they never come off. They stay on him all the time. And
Mhm.
so we were like, oh my goodness, this is a problem. We can't just put a regular pupil on him. So we had to find it, but the stage is so dark. And my colleague that I was working with, Andrea Detweiler in LA, she's like an eagle eye, and she found it on the dark stage. It was amazing.
Wow.
So, sometimes
Wow.
things happen and they're, scary and nerve wracking. But
I
you
can
just have-
tell like David Wunman was trying so hard, and trying to be like so improvised, like
I
what happened to
know.
my eye?
Well, we were
Like keeping a
rehearsing,
character or
so
something.
it was fine. We weren't on camera.
Oh,
Yeah.
So
Oh,
it
okay,
happened
okay. I thought it was
off
like
camera.
actual
Gotcha.
like
Reversing.
actually like happened like
Oh, that
during.
would have been
Okay.
scary if that happened.
Oh gosh.
Oh, I
That's
can't
never
imagine.
happened on camera. But
Thank goodness.
this is something for a wrangler, like a wrangler's job. You
Right.
have to stay calm and figure out a way to solve the problem.
Yeah.
That's
Right.
Exactly.
Going back to that
that's the
problem
job.
solving.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I still think of that Big Bird story. It's like if I'm going down, you're going down with me, okay? Like,
Well, I don't think that was her intention. I think
it was not
she was just
intentional,
falling.
but it was just
I think she thought she was grabbing his arm and he was going to support her and she wasn't going to
Yeah.
fall, but she didn't.
It's
he
funny.
tried. He
Yeah, she
tried.
tried. Yeah, exactly.
Oh my
I think he
God.
tried. It didn't work out.
Oh, man.
That's great. So now, of course, you also wrangled for Sesame Street on the Amazing Thanksgiving Day Parade. What was
Yeah.
it like, getting to help out with such a huge event like
It-
Macy's Parade?
So I will tell you that is my favorite event of the year. I love it so much because my dad was a New York City police captain, and a cop, my whole life growing up, we went into the parade every year when I was a kid. He took us to the parade. My mom and dad, my whole family, we would go, we would sit on the curb and watch the parade come down. I have pictures from like 1978 of me at the parade with the Sesame Street
Wow.
float going by. He was taking
Oh, that's
pictures
so
of
cool.
nice.
Yeah.
That was one of their
Okay.
first appearances. I
So
think.
for me,
Wow, that's
working
awesome.
the parade is really special because it's like connection to my childhood. And I love it. I love the day before. We dress all the puppets in their winter gear and get them ready. So it's just like a really fun day of like dressing the puppets in their hats and scarves and getting them ready. And then we pack them up. And the next day is the parade, and it's a joy to be there. You show up and there are like hundreds of cheerleaders coming out of the subway and clowns everywhere, and
Yeah.
floats and balloons, and everyone's in a wonderful mood and happy, and it's joyful. It's joyful.
Yeah, we've talked to a lot of the other
Yeah.
Muppet performers about doing the parade, and they say their favorite moment is when, because, you're doing it in front of like, thousands and thousands of people, and say like a kid waves at Elmo or Rosita or somebody, and then they'll like wave back and like interact with the kid. A lot of them have said that that's their favorite part about doing the parade.
Yeah, it is. It's really
yeah.
great when you hear the kids yelling for each character.
Yeah.
They're really excited. Like everyone's really excited. It's fun. It's a good time.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
So, moving on from Sesame Street, you were also a puppet wrangler on the shows The Book of Pooh and It's a Big, Big World, which used tabletop puppetry. How do you kind of compare working with tabletop puppetry to Muppet style puppetry?
Um, well, I mean, there's not too much difference other than, you have their feet involved. So you're looking at the whole puppet versus
Yeah.
half, and like you want to make sure all those mechanics look correct. Like that is one of my goals as a wrangler is always to make a puppet look as real as possible. I really like them to look, I mean, I'm not going to say human because they're not all human, but I like their mechanics to look proper because I think that helps kids, really see them as the character that they are. So in tabletop puppetry, you're having to look at the entire being, and all their mechanics. So, that's just the difference, but it's pretty similar.
Yeah, and both of those shows are wonderful, and Mitchell Kriegman
yeah.
did a wonderful job kind of creating those shows too.
Yeah, you want to know
yeah.
a fun fact about the Book of Pooh?
Sure.
Yeah.
I met my husband on that show. So I
Oh, really?
Oh, wow.
that we met in the 100-acre wood. Yeah.
Fine coincidence.
Wow.
That's wonderful. Wow.
That's
Yeah.
sweet.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Oh, that's great. So, staying on the sort of Muppet style, not exactly a Muppet show per se, but what was it like working on the series Crank Yankers?
It was kind of crazy. There was lots of like silly stuff we did. Like the Buppy. Do you guys know that character, the Buppy?
Yeah.
He vomited
Yeah.
all the time.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a colleague who couldn't stay in the room for that. She had to leave set because it really grossed her out so much. But we had this really cool rig where we would like pump. It was like a big pump, and you pumped the vomit, through the pump and out the puppet's mouth. It was amazing, but we had to like cover everything in plastic sheeting. We all were wearing like raincoats and hats, and because it was like it got everywhere. It was great. It was crazy. Like the stuff we did on that show was really silly and fun, and like lots of problem solving, right? Like we did a lot of problem solving on that show.
Oh yeah.
Such a wacky show.
It
was
is.
wacky.
Yeah.
And a little irreverent. It's like some of the stuff not my favorite, but the stuff we did, like do all the puppet stuff we did was really fun.
Oh yeah,
Absolutely. So
imagine.
So recently you got to work on the Apple TV Plus series Fraggle Rock Back to the Rock. Can you talk about your work on that show?
Yeah, I didn't do much for that. I did some script breakdowns, and I checked all the Fraggles before they left the New York shop. I just like stitched on costumes and put in some rods and made sure everybody was ready to go. That's all I really did on
that. Okay.
Yeah, and
but it was fun.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely love that show. And,
Back to Rock is such like, oh my gosh, it's such an amazing revival. Like keep Fraggle Rock, going.
And John Tartaglia, his mind is like no other, and I'm really glad that he was able to kind of take the helm for that show.
Yeah.
Me too.
Johnny, he is just like, he's just I don't know what I was gonna say in one word. He's just amazing.
He is.
He's a whole bunch of them.
Yeah.
So many other levels. I mean, not just not just for what he done with Broadway stuff and Sesame Street. And like I remember, like he was like one like when he first joined Sesame, he was like one like the youngest like puppeteers
He
I
was
was
like
Yeah.
joining
18
there.
when he joined.
Yeah, like oh my
Yeah.
gosh,
If not younger, yeah.
and then like John and Sprites, and then now
Now
I was
is
watching Bubbles and
Gobo.
Avenue Q, and then yeah,
Q,
doing
yeah.
Gobo and director,
Imagine Ocean,
supervisor,
like all these
and,
wonderful
you know,
things. Yeah,
Imagine
he's
Ocean's
done
so
so
great.
much for the show now.
I
It's
know.
insane.
And he is also one of the nicest people you will ever meet.
Oh, for
Without
sure. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
a
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yes.
He's awesome.
One of the sweetest we've ever had on the show.
Yeah. So you also earlier talked about Don Quixote,
Yeah.
which you also work on. What's working on Don Quixote like?
Oh, it's great. It's a wonderful set. Everyone who works on it is amazing. They all like work really hard, bring their A game to everything. It's a joy. It is just a joy. It's really fun to work with all the people who work on it, and the puppets are beautiful. They're just lovely puppets, and it's very creatively. It's really fun, and it's really great.
Nice.
Don
Yeah.
Quixote is like absolutely one of my like favorite PBS shows that was like out now. It's
Yeah.
such a it's
Like
such
over
a
the
it's
last
such a
few
great
years.
show.
Yeah. It's
Really?
very
And oh my
sweet.
gosh, and Haley Jenkins, Frankie, and
Frankie
Cordero,
Cordero, yeah.
Simon DeBruso, and
Yeah.
Man, amazing
and
people.
even Joey
Joey
Mazzarino
Mazzarino,
Yeah.
yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
part of that.
And of course,
They-
David and Adam Rudman,
Yeah.
who created it. They've created so many wonderful shows
They're so
over the
great.
years.
They're so
They're
great.
Yeah,
Terrific, yeah.
Yeah.
they're wonderful.
It's a good time over there.
Oh yeah,
Nice.
because I know like even when we chat with Peter, amazing Peter Lenz earlier, like he was said every time I work with Speaker Pictures, it's just I have a best time,
It
that's
is.
what
I
it really
can
is,
imagine.
yes,
Absolutely.
that's how David and Adam is, of course.
Yeah.
So now since we're kind of getting close to wrapping things up soon, can you share any projects you're currently working on, or at least that you're allowed to talk about?
Well, I mean, I'm just working on Sesame stuff and on Don Quixote. We're, shooting a season right now, and so I'm going back and forth between the two, and it's busy. It's really busy. Yeah, but that's really that's about it. Like there's, I can't go into details about those things, unfortunately.
Right.
On the
Right.
new things that I'm working on.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Right. But looking forward whenever that comes out.
Mhm.
Aw,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yes.
So
Of
to wrap
course.
this up, the last question that Matt's about to ask is a question we ask all of our guests at the end. Go ahead, Matt.
Thanks, Chris. If you missed it at the beginning, how could you? This podcast is called Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show. When you think of nostalgia, what do you think of? Or in your own words, how do you define the word nostalgia?
Nostalgia, things that I remember fondly in my life. And I have so many wonderful memories of Sesame Street cast, and crew and all of those puppeteers. I mean, when I started working on Sesame Street, I started with the original cast, who was there. And I came in there, young and green, and they all accepted me as one of the crew and treated me like I was their friend and colleague, and it was just lovely. And so nostalgia to me is remembering all those wonderful, happy memories of my first days on that show and how incredible it was and is still to this day. It's really like a big family, and it's lovely.
Absolutely great words to end
That's
on.
Thank you
beautiful.
very much.
Thanks.
Well, Michelle, thank you so much for taking the time to do this. This was a blast.
It was lovely meeting you guys.
Yeah, you as well.
You, thank
too.
you.
Likewise.
It was really fun.
Thank
You as
you.
well.
Yeah.
We'll keep in touch. I'll let you know when this goes up.
All right, great. Thanks so much.
Yes, this
Yeah,
was
of
fun.
course.
Enjoy the rest of your day.
You too.
Once again, Michelle. Take care.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Of course. Bye.
It's goodbye from us as well. We absolutely enjoyed our time speaking with the wonderful Michelle Hickey. Keep on the lookout for more wonderful interviews coming your way. And as always, what do we say, Jake?
Keep nostalgia alive. Take care, everyone. See you next time. Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for tuning in to another wonderful Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show episode. Be sure to follow Jake and the Happy Nostalgia team on social media, check out our website, and stream the show wherever you find your favorite podcasts. And as always, remember to keep nostalgia alive. Bye-bye.